thank you for being with us again.
Yeah.
I'd like to, we have half hour to talk a bit about your work, and let's start with the movie you are that has been selected in our 4th edition of the
Yeah.
festival. A man walks into a bakery.
Yeah.
You use a sentence for as a title.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me why?
Well, to be honest, it works better in Dutch. In Dutch, it's more like a common joke. So it's always a bit difficult if you translate it, but we still like, okay, it's still quite a nice title. Yeah.
Well, we do have a feel, with the title, but also throughout the movie that you wanted to capture a very very realistic situation, that happens everywhere, and that can happen to everybody.
Yeah.
We, all of us, get into a bakery, and we have to make choices, and sometimes, as a matter of fact, if the baker is somebody interesting, then we might be interested also by the baker besides the bakery. And I guess this is what you wanted your character to go through.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this idea. How did you come up with this idea? Why did you decide to make a short film out of it?
Yeah, well, I'm actually part of a writers club. So we every 2 weeks we have as homework assignments to do a writing job. So sometimes a script, short story, and actually this time the assignment was to write an internal monologue of someone who goes into a bakery. So I wrote it, and the responses were very, very nice. Everyone liked the idea, and then I was like, oh, it's not too difficult because like this short film is with almost no budget. So I knew, oh, this is not too difficult to turn into a short film and actually produce it as well. So then I started to write the entire script, and everyone seemed to like it. And well, because of COVID, it took a bit longer to shoot than we hoped. So we had to postpone a couple of times. But yeah, it was mostly because the response was so good on the script. So I was like, okay, well, then we have to make it.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. Also, just like you mentioned, to have these monologues, and they are truly hard. In cinema, to have somebody have a interior monologue and still film it in a manner that makes sense, that is credible. It's not easy. But you managed to do it pretty well, because you also helped his monologue with some with the image. Sometimes letting him imagine the situation, and it reminds me of it's also a very nice tool to use, especially if you want to go to some kind of exaggerated situation that you want to show, and it happens only in the head of the character, but you did let the audience at one point will not know, and it's a nice way to play with the audience. So we at first we think this is horrible, what is happening, and then we realize he's just dreaming, thinking about it.
Sure.
But it does happen to all of us, and this why did you choose this character?
It's a bit like when I wrote it, actually the character was a bit younger, but then the lead actor Thomas, he's quite a well-known Dutch comedian, and we knew him through a connection, and then we heard that he wants to do this, so I was like, okay, then we'll change the character a bit towards him, and he was able to give his own spin to it, so that was quite nice. So he's quite neurotic himself, so that helps a lot.
How much of you had two main actors, and How do you direct your actors? How much of your directing do you use when you are doing a film like this? Do you leave them? Do you give them a lot of freedom, or what do you what?
I give them a lot, especially because it's a short film. It's not a lot of budget, and everyone works for free. So you already ask quite a lot for people. Then it's important for me, not just for the cast, but also for the crew, that they have the opportunity to explore their work, so that they also are able to learn from it, and they can do maybe stuff that they normally can't do. So I try to give everyone as much freedom as they. Yeah. As long as it fits in the story, and then Thomas, our lead, didn't need a lot of direction. He was and most of course it was mostly his face doing the work, and then afterwards we went to the sound studio to record the audio, and then he gave his own spin to the script. So that was quite nice.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, this is a nice rule. If you're gonna work for free, you're gonna have a lot of freedom.
Yeah, yeah, true, because
it's a nice trade-off,
Yeah, because like most of the crew people, they are like often they are maybe the assistant on during the week. They're the assistant on a set, and they don't have that much responsibility yet. And these projects are able give them those experience to have a bit more responsibility.
How long did it take you to shoot this?
This was 2 days. 2 days on location, and then 1 day afterwards in the sound studio. Or not one completely, just a couple of hours with Thomas in the sound studio.
And the location is a real bakery, I suppose.
It's actually very near to my house. It's a coffee bar, because it's near like an industrial area, and they are closed in the weekend because they are mostly focused on people who come from the office to get their drinks. And in the weekend there's not a lot of people, so I was like, oh, maybe we can use that location, and they were happy to help. So
but it did look very, very nice.
It's a nice location. Yeah, and we had a very good set dresser as well, so she could make it look even better.
You worked a lot on this. Do you see it as a problem, a social problem, or psychological problem? This manner of not knowing what we want. I mean, we going to somewhere, and then we may have two objectives, and then we may not know what to choose, and then we are in this. It's I suppose it's maybe a way of explaining the world around us, and how people behave around us, because as a matter of fact, things are not always rational, things are not direct. There is a lot of trial and error, and kind of behavior that we have. And what are you drawn towards this explaining or showing this behavior?
Yeah, like social issues, or in this case more psychology. Like especially nowadays with everything, you have so many options. It's not just in the bakery. It's just even if you go on Netflix or something. Yeah, what are you gonna choose? There are so many options, and it's a bit. For some people, it's a bit luxurious problem. Like there's too much to choose, and what are you going to choose? And then you make connections to certain things. Why you not choose something? So, yeah.
And also the connection with people. You try to show how this man is desperately trying to connect with the woman, but somehow he has blocking arguments that he uses against himself, and it's interesting also to show how modern life can let us talk to anyone we want, yet at the same time we are very reserved. We are unable to express our feelings and our I suppose you wanted to make that point also, I suppose.
Yes, it could have been so easy for him to just ask maybe what do you recommend? But no, he's just looking everywhere and making it hard for himself.
Let me ask you: is this your first short, or have you done other work?
Well, most of the time I work as a producer. So we made this with Film. It's a small production company in Amsterdam, and we often work with young crew members and on short films like this. But like the last couple, 5, 6, I always was the producer. And this time, because I wrote it, and I always do this with MARIJN, she's my co-producer, and she was like, well, maybe this time just try to direct it as well, see if you like it. So that's why I did it. And I really liked it, but I still, for now, I'm mostly focusing on producing. Okay. But maybe next year, if we have time, I'll do another.
It gave you some kind of appetite for directing.
Yes, very much. I think I would like it to try it again without all the COVID issues, so that it's a bit more smoothly, so you can enjoy it a bit more instead like that you have to postpone again, and then you have to find new crew again because then they can't do it anymore. So I think that would be nice. But currently we are working on quite a big short film that I will do producing on it. So that already takes quite some time, so we'll have to focus on that first.
Yeah, time and energy. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Is also a very big job on the set, and and that's good that you're doing this. And also, this is a comedy. Are you? Why do you like comedy? Because we are in a comedy festival, and we want to know what are your motivations in expressing your ideas through comedy. Tell me about your philosophy about comedy.
Yeah, well, if I look at all the stuff I write myself, I think 75% leans towards comedy, or it's a bit dramatic, but always with a twist of humor. I think those are also like the films I like to watch the most, like comedy or dramedy, stuff like that. I think you can use it like in this film. It's a good way to explain certain issues on a light way, and that you can still make a point across, but also make people laugh. I think that's important, and especially in short films. So that's why I like your film festival as well. Like there are so many film festivals, and there's a lot focused on very artistic short films, and which is good, but that's also why a lot of short films don't get that much attention, while there's also an appetite for comedy, and often those films are a bit neglected when it comes to short films. So it's
yeah, it is true. The comedy genre is the number 2 genre in appreciated by audiences throughout the world. So as a matter of fact, we felt before even doing this festival that there were no that comedy should be given more exposure, so that because it is appreciated, and behind it there is probably more work than doing drama. You know, probably this is what I think also, because
it's often harder to make someone laugh than to make someone cry. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard also on the feelings of the, I suppose, I don't know, on the feelings of the screenwriter, because he needs to make his characters suffer, you know, and most screenwriters don't like that, you know. When you have a protagonist, a hero, you want to make him suffer, but not beyond a certain point where people laugh.
Yeah.
I think, you know?
Yeah.
But if you don't do that in comedy, then you don't get comedy. So.
No, for sure.
So I understand why to me it is a difficult choice, but that one has to make.
Yeah.
And tell me about your plans. You told me you're now a director. You started directing, but you're a producer basically. And what
So at this point, we are working towards a big short film in the Netherlands that was written by one of the most well-known Dutch authors. We also knew, and he he liked what we did, and he said, "Oh, I have a short script he wrote with his daughter. Like, maybe you can turn this into a short film." So we're working on that at the moment. That's about the Dutch student societies. So we hope to film that in September, October. But still takes quite a lot of work. And in the end, we are mostly focused on short films. But my colleague Muriel, she's currently in Cannes because we also had the rights for a book for a feature film. It's gonna be really hard to make it happen, but we have some buzz. So she's currently in Cannes trying to find some extra connections, and hopefully we can work on that in the next year or the next 2 years. So
you mean
there will be
somebody wrote a feature screenplay, and then you want to find now the producers that can
no, we found a book, and it's based on a real place in Italy, and we bought the rights of the book.
Okay, to
adapt to a screenplay. Yeah, we already turned it into a script, and now we are working with an English producer. But yeah, short films can take time and money, but feature films takes a lot more time and a lot more money. So we're now trying to find people who can help us. But at this point, we get a lot of good response. So hopefully something will work out from that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, we wish you the best, I hope, and we wish also to maybe see some other comedy coming in the coming years. In our festival, there is a trend where, especially for people who do short films, they come back when they make a second comedy, because it's always interesting to see how people appreciate one's work with time.
Only this interview, that not a lot of film festivals do that for short films, so that's quite nice to
yeah, well, we wish we could bring you guys all over, but the festival is still at the stage where you can't afford it, but hopefully we'll afford it soon. We'll be able to bring in people, so because people like to meet directors and understand that we are talking a universal, especially comedy. It is as much as it is rooted in the culture of each country. For example, the cakes and that you showed in your movie, and they're very much related to the Dutch, let's say international, because carrot cake is everybody knows carrot cake, but still, I mean, but at the same time, it's universal. The comedy is universal, and people like to exchange. And at the end, human beings are very similar in terms of psychology and reactions, and so it's all very interesting to see how everyone. Every director has a vision that he can pass on to the world. I mean, not only to his fellow countrymen.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stop here. We in 20 minutes. I think it's good.
Yeah.
And the best luck to you, and the best luck to your movie with our jury, and let's stay in touch.
Yes, right? Good luck with the festival.